There's a almost metaphysical joy that comes from being creative when you learn how to be creative in the right ways. And a lot of people are missing out on this creativity. I think most humans on this planet are not tapping into like even 1% of their creative potential. This is a gross insult to your nature as God. And I think that honestly, an enormous amount of people simply end up killing themselves or being stuck in depression or nihilism or cynicism or just wasting their entire life simply because nobody ever shows them their full creative potential and how to actualize it. We don't really teach our children how to be creative. If they become creative, it's only through their own sort of intuitive efforts that they do it. We don't have a rigorous process for teaching people how to be creative, how to find their creative niche, what they want to be creative in, all the different ways that creativity can manifest itself. Because like when you say creative to the average person, they think like, oh, art or painting. It's like, but I'm not a painter. I'm not good at drawing, therefore I'm not creative. It's like, no, there are so many different ways to be creative. You can be creative in business, in science, in mathematics, and in programming, in communicating with people, in public speaking. There's an infinite number of ways to be creative. And then to develop your capacity to be creative in some niche. This is not just a way to earn money. This is not just a way to doodle on a notebook and to entertain yourself when you're bored in class. You have to see it for something much deeper. This is your way of connecting to consciousness and falling in love with consciousness. This is your way of honoring and appreciating consciousness. When you really appreciate it, it's not enough just to marvel at it with your eyes. You want to participate in it. You want to participate in the creative process. And so the more you start to appreciate your life as this work of consciousness, this work of art, you start to see the miracle of your life, the miracle of being able to participate in this beautiful, wondrous thing called consciousness, this mysterious thing called consciousness. And then as you get in touch with the magic of it, the divinity of it, you start to respect and appreciate it. And then you want to devote and sacrifice your life working on its behalf. And that's when your life becomes meaningful. That's when you connect to life. And then when you start to sacrifice and work towards it every single day. That's when each of your days becomes precious. And it becomes meaningful in that it's a sacrifice you're making towards the miracle of life. Now, I want you to consider this attitude that I'm giving you right here versus the sort of typical attitude you have towards your life. The typical attitude that your parents or your friends or your coworkers have towards your life, where they just wake up and then they're just running around doing the rat race stuff they got to do, like doing their chores, paying their bills, doing what the boss told them to do, that kind of stuff, right? Notice how different these attitudes are, like very, very disconnected from the beauty, the wonder, the divinity, the miraculous nature, the mystery of consciousness. Like consciousness has nothing to do with the sort of attitude of just kind of like going through your day, paying your bills, earning some money, doing your chores. And yeah, that's why you become disillusioned with life. That's why you become depressed. Because what joy can there be? How can you love life when you live that way? You're just jumping through hoops, basically. Utilitarian hoops. Avoiding suffering and pain, trying to minimize your suffering. Trying to minimize people yelling at you for failing to do your job, failing to show up on time. This is not a positive, constructive way to live. This is sort of like you're just living along the path of least resistance. Like you're going to school to do your homework so that your parents don't yell at you, kind of thing. Or you're just doing the bare minimum at your job so your boss doesn't fire you, sort of thing, so that you can pay your bills, come home at night, and just eat some junk food and watch some Netflix, and then do it all over again the next day. This is, if you're going to live a life like that, you might as well not live at all. You're wasting your life, and deep down in your soul, in your spirit, so to speak, you feel that, you know that, you're living way below your full potential. And you should be unsatisfied with that kind of lifestyle. That's a signal that your spirit is sending to you that you have to be able to decode and realize like, yeah, okay, I'm not living in alignment with my highest values. I'm not living at my edge. I'm not in touch with the miracle of life and existence. And then you start to wonder like, well, what is the meaning of all this? Leah, why was I even born? Why is God such a bastard? Put me here. What kind of God would create something like this? Look, the amazing thing about life is that you get to construct your own life. That's what makes life so amazing. Like, if you don't participate in the construction of your life consciously, then it's like you're not living at all. And then it can't be wonderful. But if you take conscious control and you realize that like you're in a sandbox, you're in an infinite sandbox here. You can play around, you can be creative, you can build whatever you want. Now, it doesn't really matter what you build. And see, if you're nihilistic, you're going to say, well, Leo, what does it matter if I build this or if I build that? All of it in the end, I'm going to die. Everyone's going to die. The human race is going to die. The sun is going to engulf the earth and the whole universe will go into a heat death. And in the end, what does it really matter what I create? That's exactly right. It doesn't matter at all what you create. But what matters is how you live, the principles by which you live, how consciously you live, how much you appreciate the process, the honor with which you live, so to speak. Like, are you going to live with deliberate intention? Are you going to have a vision for yourself? Are you going to create something out of your life from scratch? That's really the opportunity that life is affording you. That's challenging. Taking that on is a huge challenge. It's difficult. It's a struggle. It's not just pure positivity and pleasure that you get when you undertake this process. It requires serious work.